Politics, please. Last night, the Senate failed totally to pass a skinny version of the Obamacare repeal bill. Joining us now, the Heritage Foundation's president, Edwin Feulner. Edwin, I am calling this the gross failure of the Republican Party. Would you disagree with me sharply?
No, I do not disagree with you at all, Stuart. In fact, it's on-the-job training, I'm afraid, for the last 6 months, and now we're going to be stuck with zombie care, as we call it, for the next couple of years until we can actually get to repeal. But the encouraging thing, Stuart, and your lead-up and coming up with Kevin Brady is it looks like they're learning some lessons to coordinate the administration with the House and the Senate on real tax reform. And that's very exciting to me.
But tell me about that, because when Obamacare failed totally last night, a lot of us turned around and said, well, there go tax cuts, because if they can't do anything on Obamacare, what can they possibly do on tax cuts? But you're telling me they may learn from this lesson?
I think they really have. Yesterday you had Mnuchin, Gary Cohn in the White House, the House and the Senate, both the leadership and Senate Finance Committee and House Ways and Means Committee all coming together and saying, these are the basic principles we want. Kevin Brady's gotten off this goofy kick on the border-adjusted tax, and everybody is now going out and saying, we're going to reduce corporate rates, we're going to reduce individual rates, we're going to go for repatriation, and we're going to really grow the economy above where it is right now.
If they don't, you say hello to the Democrats running the House next year, say hello to the Democrats in the White House in 2020, and possibly the impeachment of President Trump. I mean, that's a kind of a dire response, isn't it?
Well, that would be, Stuart, but I'm one of Washington's congenital optimists. I've been here for 50 years. I've seen the ups and the downs, and there are no permanent defeats in Washington. Yeah, we had a setback last night on health care. Very disappointing, particularly with Senator McCain, for whom I have great admiration, but boy, he was a surprise and a disappointment. If he had switched his vote, it would have gone the other way. It was that close.
Here's something else which I think is positive, and that's the GDP number for the, the April through June quarter, annualized growth rate of 2.6%. I see that as pretty good. Edwin, and you?
That's pretty good, Stuart. I'm a 3%er minimum. I'd really love to see it 3% plus because that's where it should be. That's where historically it has been, except for the last decade when we've had just too darn much regulation and too high taxes. And let's get rid of that. To his very great credit, I think the president has done a lot in terms of executive orders, getting rid of a lot of the regulations. The House has passed the Choice Act, which will get rid of the worst parts of Dodd-Frank. So there are some very positive things happening right now, I think, down here in Washington, Stuart.
Has President Trump got anything to do with the gross Republican failure in the Senate last night and a difficult relationship with, you're shaking your head, does any blame rest upon President Trump's shoulders?
I don't think so, really. He had every reason to anticipate, since the House and Senate have both voted for full repeal in the past, when it really didn't matter because they knew it was going to be vetoed by Obama, he assumed they would do it. And he has made it very clear publicly and privately that he will call anybody, he will twist any arms or invite anybody over and buy them a sandwich or a Sam Adams or whatever they're serving in the White House and try and get them on board. And he's been a real team player and a real leader on this, so I don't put the blame there at all. I put it on the fact the Republicans have got to learn that that they're in a team. This is not a round of golf for the U.S. Open. They've got to play together.
Do you think we're going to get used to this president, his tone, his conduct, the way he runs the office? I know you're laughing, but there's a lot of people out here shaking their heads. I mean, we're going to have 3.5 more years of this?
Yeah, a lot of us do shake our heads. I'm a Midwestern guy from out in Illinois. But all my friends from New York say, hey, get used to it. That's what we're like in New York. And this business now with Scaramucci and the others going back and forth, I don't understand it, but let's stay focused on the big picture and let's get some tax reform done.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. And by the way, don't go back to Illinois. They'll take you for an arm and a leg if you do that.
Not right now, no thanks.
No, don't do that. Edwin Feulner, everyone. Thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you.